So hello everyone, welcome to this first lesson on this course in this series of tutorials. And the very first thing that we're going to do is learn how to build our node. First, we're going to build it using Cabal and GHC, and later we will learn how to do it using Nix. In this video, we're going to focus on using Cabal, and for that, we're going to follow the official documentation. You have a link here to the official documentation. So before we can start building and installing our node, please remember that there are some minimum requirements that your system must fulfill in order to be able to run the node properly. This is a separate thing about building the node. Building the node mostly will take CPU. So the more CPU power you have, the better for building it. But for running it, you will only need a couple of course to run it, but requirements are different in terms of which network you are targeting. In particular, if you are willing to run a mainnet node, you will need more memory and more storage. That is because, well, until now, the ledger state is kept in memory. This is why we need more memory when we are running mainnet because, well, this is the largest network by far. So you will need at least 16 gigabytes in memory to run your memory properly on mainnet. And of course, the blockchain is a living thing. So it keeps growing every day. So the more storage, the better. At least we recommend 100 gigabytes of free storage. But these requirements are always growing every day, right? So just keep that in mind. If you are planning to go for a test net just for learning purposes or for testing or for trying things out, well, you need a little bit less resources. You are fine with something around 4 or 6 gigabytes in RAM and something around 20 to 40 gigabytes of free storage. That should be enough. But of course, these requirements always vary, always change. Depending on when you are watching this video, requirements might have changed, okay? So at this moment, these are the minimum requirements. And so having said that, let's go to first, before we can actually build a node, we will need to install some libraries, some dependencies. So let's make sure that we have everything we need. Depending on your Linux distribution that you are using, this will also work if you are on a Mac OS. You will use your package manager of your likes. It might be Yum, it might be apt-get, depending on your Linux distribution. In this case, this is connected to a Linux machine over there, which is an Ubuntu machine. So basically, I will be using apt-get. And what are we going to install? Well, we're going to install the version control system, Git, of course. We will need that. We will need the GCC compiler. We will need C++ support for GCC, developer libraries for the arbitrary precision library GMP, developer libraries for the compression library setlib, developer libraries for the systemd, same for ncurses, ncurses compatibility libraries, Haskell build tool Cabal. We will need GHC, and together with other tools like JQ and tmux and wget and stuff like that. So first things first, as always, you want to do sudo apt-get update and confirm with a yes. Of course, you will need your password. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to type and speak at the same time. Oh, there we go. Everything seems to be updated. And now we are ready to start installing all the libraries and dependencies that we mentioned before. Let's go for it. There you go. I have already everything installed here. Nothing new. That's great. If you are missing things, it will be installed. If you don't have any of this, it will install everything, of course. So right now I have everything we need. And from here, the next thing that we want to do is install GHC up. And for that, we want to follow this link over here where will link to the official documentation of GHC up, and it says how to install and blah blah blah. And here you will find this line for Linux, macOS, FreeBSD, or Windows Subsystem 2 for Linux. Run this in the terminal, which is what we are going to do now. Just bring this line over here. Cool. This script, it says, welcome to Haskell. This script can download and install the following binaries: GHC up, GHC, Cabal, stack, HLS. GHC up installs only into the following directory, which can be removed anytime. So this is it. Let's go for installing this thing. It says, detected bash shell on your system. Do you want to GHC up to automatically add the required path variable to bash RC files? Yes, please. And prepend it. You want to install Haskell language server? Yes, why not? You want to enable better integration of a stack with GHC up? Yeah, sounds good. We're not using a stack at the moment, but let's go for it. Note that there are some system requirements. Please ensure the following distro packages are installed before continuing. This is what we have just installed before with this dependencies. If anything is missing, it will tell you, but I don't think there is anything missing right now. So let's just move on and continue. Cabal installation successful. Downloading the latest package list from Package. Installing Haskell language server. Unpacking Haskell language server. Installing it. There we go. So now, okay, the bash RC file has been modified. Restart your terminal for the changes to take effect, or type source home. Let's just source this. Sudos here in case we need it. And now, all done to start a simple REPL, run, blah, 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 blah. That's good. So we're done with installing GHC up. Now we want to tell, let me just get back here, GHC up to install this particular version, 8.10.7, and Cabal 3620. So let's go for that. And we're going to set them as the default or as the version to use. Installing GHC. This should be relatively quick. Cabal 362 successfully set as default version, and the same kind of message we have for GHC. So now, just to be sure, we can do which Cabal. There you go. The same for which GHC. There you go. It's in the path, and now we can do, for example, Cabal dash version, just to make sure that we have set the correct version, and the same goes for GHC dash version. There we go. So we have installed Cabal and GHC correctly. So now we are going to install libsodium, and for that it is a good idea for us to create just a source folder or source directory just for our builds. And inside here we are going to clone the repository. This is a fork of libsodium that is maintained by input output. So we're going to clone that, then we are going to get into that repo, check out this particular commit, and then just run the autogen script, and from there just usual stuff. So let's come here to install libsodium. Couple of warnings here and there, nothing to worry about. Nice, and we have completed this, and now it's time for us to get back to our home directory, and from here we can use something like Nano or Vim or whatever text editor you want to use, and open bashrc file and go to the bottom of it, and here we need to add this couple of lines. So we are just setting up a couple of variables. Control O and Control X to get out, and of course don't forget to source it so that we can pick up that new or updated version of the bashrc file. Now there's another an alternative version or an alternative way to install libsodium, but the one that we just used is totally fine. Now let's install secp. This is a library coming from Bitcoin, and for that we're gonna move again into our source where we have the libsodium repo. We're now going to clone the secp256k1 repository, get into it, check out this commit, and again run the autogen script and configure and make it installed. Couple of minutes here. Hopefully nothing breaks. There you go. So libraries have been installed in user local leaf. If you ever happen to want to link against install libraries in a given directory, blah, 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 all good. So we are done here. And now it is time for us to get back again to our source directory. And here, let me just clean the screen, because what we are gonna do now is clone the Cardano node repository. And this is what we are gonna do now with this git clone. There you go. If you go to Cardano node directory, do quick ls over here, and you will find that this is master state of the current state of the repo. So now, one thing that is always useful in case there are some submodules over here, let's just record submodules. And now we are ready to start installing or building our Cardano node. But what version of Cardano node do we want to install? If we do Cabal build here, we will be building in master. And master is perhaps not the best idea for us right now because, well, master is always at the very edge. So we want to install a version that is officially released. And for that, we can go back to our Cardano node repository. We see here that the latest release is Cardano node 135.5. We're getting close to 135.6. Actually, it is going to be released probably in a week or two. Today is March 8. So now, let's install Cardano node 135.5. This is the particular commit that we are looking for. So from here, we now can get back to our documentation now that we know what is the version that we want to install. We just do, well, of course, if you do git tag, you will list all the available tags, all the tagged versions that we have, but we know that we want 135.5. So for that, you do git checkout tags /1.35.5, and that is the commit that we saw before. That's the exact commit that we wanted. That's great, because from here, just one step before we start building, we have installed GHC 8.10.7, but just in case, it's always a good idea to add this line to the Cabal project local, just to make sure that we use this compiler, this version of the compiler. And now we are ready to do Cabal update. And finally, you can do Cabal build all, or also you can do Cabal build Cardano node and Cardano CLI. This is what I'm going to do now. So depending on the resources of your machine, it will take some time. In my case, I have done it several times before. I know that it will take somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes. So let's just wait for it. If something happens, I will let it run here. I will be just monitoring the thing. If anything breaks, we will try to monitor it together, or to fix it together. If anything breaks, we will try to debug it together, but I don't see anything that could go wrong. But let's just wait and see how it goes. So see you by the end of the build. Nice, so we are done here. We have built our node successfully. Nothing went wrong, that's great. And now it's just time to find our binaries and copy them to a directory that is in our path. In our case, I'm gonna put it in the .local bin. And you can do find here by name and find Cardano node, and it will, this is the path to the directory. So just ls / Cardano node -- version, and that's correct. That's a version that we just built, and from here we can just copy Cardano node into .local bin, and we do the same for Cardano CLI. So let me just get back to cd source Cardano node, and from here cd, from here, okay, just we have these scripts, these small scripts inside here that you can actually use. This will actually find and copy the Cardano CLI and the Cardano node to the .local bin directory, so that you can use either method. There it is. So now we can do Cardano CLI -- version. There we go, and the same for Cardano node -- version. Of course, I copied it to .local bin. If it's not in your path, you will need to either add it to your path or copy them to a directory that is actually in your path. In my case, echo path .local bin is there, the path, so that's great. From here, well, we have completed the first part, which was building the node using Cabal and GHC. And from here, we're going to move on to the next video where we are going to learn how to do the same thing using Nix. So see you there. Thank you.